So in essence, you are already acting with a fiduciary responsibility towards your clients, even though you're not required to by your license.
Absolutely. That's a great term. And if you don't know that term, definitely look it up. It's, in a nutshell, acting in the best interest of your clients. And that's exactly what we do. But we consider ourselves moral fiduciaries. We don't have to follow the DOL fiduciary guideline, but we're moral fiduciaries, and every single person should be. Don't commission chase. Do what's right by your clients. And if you do what's right, the nice thing, guess what? Commissions will come.
All right. Hey, what's up, everybody? Thanks for coming back and watching us today from live at 8% Nation. Today, I have another incredibly special guest. His name is Tracy Lounsbury. All right. Huge annuity producer that today is going to spit some fire regarding why you as an insurance producer should be dabbling into the annuity space. But there's a couple of key things we're going to talk about in terms of how you get into that marketplace. So Tracy, thank you so much for being on today's podcast. How are you doing today?
Hey, man, I'm doing great. It's been a great event. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Absolutely, man. We were having some good drinks and conversation, and it prompted the idea that we need to come right back up to the studio and have this conversation.
Yeah.
So I'm glad that you're here today with me.
Yeah.
We're going to have a couple of spectators today, which is awesome as well. So we have, this is the first time that we're probably doing a podcast live with spectators, but we're going to have a good time.
Yeah.
So let's dive in, man. Let's dive in. So you and I were talking earlier about annuities and the proper way to get into the marketplace.
For sure.
I've mentioned that from my experience in talking, and again, I've talked with thousands of agents, right? They are normally incredibly hesitant about getting into the marketplace because they feel there's just way too much to learn. It's way too complicated, and as a result, they don't want to touch it. They would rather just avoid it altogether.
Right.
What would you say to the agent who comes up to you saying that that is the reason they are avoiding annuities altogether?
I would say that it's okay for you to feel like they're intimidating, because annuities can be pretty intimidating, but you need to make sure you have the right structure in place to be able to build that structure in your own knowledge capacity to be able to offer them. Because to do it the right way, you do need to have a certain amount of training, a certain amount of experience, whatever it is. And that's where going on webinars and understanding how they work and the inner workings of an annuity and who needs annuity and why they need annuity, that's why it's important. So don't feel like you should go away from an annuity because it's too intimidating. Just use that as a goal. Say, hey, this is something I don't know about. Let's dive into it and figure out what is the best process for me to be able to understand that.
So if somebody were to come to you and say, hey, Tracy, I need to know, look, I'm really serious about getting into this industry, and I really want to know what kind of hours do I need to dedicate to feel like I'm competent in knowing what I'm talking about regarding annuities?
I would say there's no cookie cutter answer. Everybody processes information differently. Some people are a little more analytical, some people are not. I never used to be. I was a vanilla. Can I use the term vanilla? Somebody who's just really just doesn't understand the specifics of things. I've never been a test taker. I've never really understood why details really matter until I got into this, because it's not about you. It's not about you, right? If you're commission chasing, then you probably shouldn't do it, which obviously people are watching and listening because they're not. They want to learn. So if you want to learn and you want to be able to offer your clients the best products possible and understand those products in general, especially annuities, then you need to just be able to sit down, learn about them, understand them, and just get in front of people that know what they're doing, that have good experience, and just be a sponge, man. Yeah. Be a sponge, understand it, and it doesn't take a long time to be able to understand them. But in a nutshell, really what you should do is just get a really good mentor or an upline that's going to be able to pour knowledge into you, because knowledge is power when it comes to annuities, and it's going to make you more versed when you're in front of a client and you're going to be able to answer the questions that are sometimes simple and sometimes complicated.
So when you say that we need to find a good mentor, give me some good key indicators that a producer could ask somebody to be able to pretty quickly surmise if this is really a good mentor or potential mentor or not.
Yeah. So having a good upline or FMO or IMO is obviously going to be a tool that you can use. The problem is if you're only using that tool, there's going to be some bias there. There just is. It comes with the territory. They're going to want to push a certain product. And a lot of times it's going to be commission based. So you need to be able to do your research and talk to other annuity producers in the space. Feel free to talk to me. I'll tell you, listen, I'm not going to recruit you. I will tell you exactly how it is. I'll tell you what I've learned. I've had some bad mentors in my past, and I've had some really good ones. And I'll tell you how it is and straight. And that's what people want. They don't want the fluff.
Yeah.
Right? Nobody wants the
100%.
fluff.
Authenticity. Yeah. They want that, because that's the thing that I think a lot of producers are becoming more and more skilled at, is quickly being able to determine if Tracy's being authentic with me or not.
Definitely.
Or are you just trying to sell me something?
Definitely.
Right? Because that's what we're looking for, especially when it comes to trying to find some kind of help. Now, I understand, because here's the other thing I don't want. I don't want people to believe that everybody can just come to you, pick your brain unconditionally, and feel that somehow you're going to end up training them without any strings attached, right?
Yeah.
That's not what we're saying here.
Yeah.
But the idea that you can point them in the right direction, and maybe you would be a good fit, but if not, you're more than open to telling people, hey, this FMO is a good fit for what you're looking for, or this one. Like, you're going to give them a straight up honest opinion about it.
Yeah, 100%. So I'm super open about what kind of qualifications I have and what I look for when it comes to like a mentorship program. So I'm an only Michigan agent. So when other agents come to me and they want some knowledge, I have no problem sitting down, or not sitting down with them, but doing like a virtual kind of phone call or maybe a Zoom call, taking 15 minutes or 30 minutes to talk with them. There is definitely going to get to a point, right, where my time is super valuable, right? Because I know it is, because I do sit down with people and they do pay me to mentor them. I am under the mindset right now where it's really important for me to get the knowledge that I have and be able to bestow that upon people that maybe don't know or don't have it, right? So I have no problem if you want to contact me and say, hey, Tracy, this is where I'm at. What direction do you think you want to, what kind of advice can you give me? I have no problem with that. I'll take 15 minutes and 30 minutes. Sometimes it might be a weekend, right? During the week, I'm pretty busy. I have no problem as long as I'm not doing something with my family, which family is important.
Yes.
So I have no problem with that, because I do love to train and teach agents the right way to do it. Because there's definitely a wrong way and there's definitely a right way.
All right, give us a couple of quick key points of what the wrong way would be, so that, again, agents can be savvy to that and know that if they're being pointed that direction, they should run away. Yeah,
so, and this is my opinion. Maybe there's other producers out there that think this is wrong, but at the end of the day, you need to understand that you have a moral compass, right? And it's going to guide you. It should guide you, especially if you're in a sales position. So if you feel like you're commission chasing, right? Or somebody is out there and they're giving you advice and they're just saying, hey, just go for it. Would you want somebody who's your advisor and you're a retiree to just go for it? Or do you want them to have the knowledge in place to be able to give you a sound, non-biased opinion where they're not commission chasing? They're sitting down with you, they're doing a comprehensive financial needs analysis with you, and they're letting you know, hey, an annuity would be a really good fit for X amount of assets, or say, hey, an annuity is not a good fit for you, and maybe even push away. You could write 100,000, 200,000, 300,000, depending on what your commission structure is and how many years you're looking at. You could really honestly end up missing a sale. It's not about the sale. It's not about that. And people are going to see through that every day. So if you feel like you have a mentor or somebody in your life that's coaching you and they just have the sales focus, I would say that's the wrong focus.
So I guarantee you that somebody listening to this right now is going to say, well, Tracy, that's easier said than done. You're talking about give them an example. You have an example where you passed an incredibly large commission because it was the right thing to do.
Yeah.
Why don't you tell the audience a little bit about that?
Yeah, so I've had a couple scenarios where I have turned away a client or a potential client, a prospect, because it just wasn't the right scenario. So locally, we had a lady who was referred to me. She was worth about $15 million in assets. And that's a lot, especially when you start talking about assets under management and annuities. It's like, oh boy, you can do up to 50% in an annuity with a lot of companies. That's a big commission. The problem with this lady is she owned a lot of companies, and the companies were in debt. And she was referred to me because I had an annuity client who sat down with them, like coffee, whatever they had in the morning, and said, hey, I have this advisor. He's a safe money person. You should talk to him. This lady has a team of investors with her, a team. She's got an attorney and a couple financial advisors. And she came to me and said, hey, I feel like there's not as much safe money in my portfolio as there should. So I went down and did a portfolio analysis with her, not giving security as advice because I'm an insurance licensed, right? So you got to be careful of that. And I said, listen, I would love to sit here and write millions of dollars in annuities for you, but based on your debt, I can't. Some companies would definitely, they definitely issue it, and I'd make a bunch of money, probably close to 100 to 150,000 in commission from this lady. And I turned her away and I said, you got to get out of debt before we do anything. And that's how I left it. And I actually haven't talked to her since.
Yeah.
I really haven't.
And I'm sure at the end of the day, that was probably something that she respected quite a bit, even though I think that maybe there could have been a little bit of embarrassment or whatever, but she's still going to respect that because that's the right thing to do. You kind of guided her in what the next steps should be, and hopefully she's working towards rectifying that.
Definitely, yeah. And I'll have to definitely follow up there to see what kind of steps she's taking because it's been about a year and a half.
So tomorrow at 8% Nation, you're going to have a breakout session. And what are you going to cover in that training?
Yeah, so I was contacted to do kind of the annuity breakout session. There are a couple other annuity producers that are doing a breakout session, but my big thing is selling annuities the right way, right? Where you can get information from somebody who's maybe not making money off you, not an upline, whatever it is. I think there's definitely a process that people don't talk about that is in between being over analytical about it and overthinking it and then just being too lackluster. There's definitely a fine line. And I feel like there's a lot of people that aren't there, right? They're either being pushed in one direction or the other. And I feel like what I offer and kind of my system is, hey, let's give you a really good base. If you were to build a house, Eric, and you had somebody come in and do the construction and the excavation for it, and you wanted to build a really big house and a really awesome house, and the foundation was garbage, what do you think is going to happen?
It's going to crumble.
That's right. And it's just like that with any insurance, right? You got to have a good foundation. And when you start talking about annuities, your foundation is a lot more important because it's not about you. You're talking about the financial future of your clients that only have X amount of assets. You need to make sure you're doing the right thing, and there's definitely a middle ground, and there's definitely a way and a process you can do that.
So in essence, you are already acting with a fiduciary responsibility towards your clients, even though you're not required to by your license.
Absolutely. That's a great term. And if you don't know that term, definitely look it up. It's, in a nutshell, acting in the best interest of your clients. And that's exactly what we do. But we consider ourselves moral fiduciaries. We don't have to follow the DOL fiduciary guideline, but we're moral fiduciaries, and every single person should be. Don't commission chase. Do what's right by your clients. And if you do what's right, the nice thing, guess what? Commissions will come.
Yeah. And I think that one of the things that producers who maybe are a little bit enticed by the commission chasing need to understand is that you are, in essence, truly working with somebody's livelihood. This is their retirement assets that they are dependent on.
Yes.
And to take that without any kind of utmost sincerity, like, again, you have to be incredibly serious when you're approaching that.
Yeah.
It's one of the things that I think anytime that I had considered going into an arena, it caused me to pause because of the weight of knowing that, right?
Yeah.
But I think you need that.
You do.
Right?
100%. You need that weight. If you feel like you don't have something holding you back, I'll go in there and I'll mess around, and if it sticks, it sticks. That is not the right mindset you need to have. You know, with insurance in general, health insurance, life insurance, whatever, there's a little bit more gray area there, right? There's a little bit more leeway if you make a mistake. With somebody's financial future, there's not.
Right.
And you can lock people's money up and their assets up that they've worked so hard for. If you do it the wrong way, you can lock it up in a time frame that they don't need. And I'm not just talking about surrender periods, which is a lot of what annuity producers understand. I'm talking about the right annuity, caps, spreads, par rate, indexes. There's so much that goes into it that don't get lost in the details, but know the details. At least have a good structure and a good base.
So one of the resources that you have just recently launched is your own private Facebook group, in which I've noticed already agents are able to go in there, and they can ask some of these detailed questions,
Yeah.
some of these things that maybe are weighing on their mind or that they has caused hesitation from them to move forward. So what's the name of the group that they can join at on Facebook?
Yeah, so the group is called Annuity Giants, right? And my goal with the group is to be is to cover everything I kind of just talked about. We want to be authentic. We want to make sure that we're getting a good base. If you want a good resource for you to grow from, I've watched a lot of YouTube videos, and there's a lot of misinformation out there. I think in a lot of industries, right? Not just the insurance industry, but a lot of, yeah. So there's a lot on there that I've listened to podcasts, I've watched insurance-based YouTube videos, and I'm blown away by the information that's on there. Not all of it's bad at all, but a lot of it is.
Yeah.
So my goal is to have an annuity-focused Facebook group where somebody can come on, ask a question, and get authentic results. And I'm the type of person that if I see somebody post on there and it's not authentic, we're going to monitor that.
Yeah.
Because it's so important. It doesn't mean we got to shoot for 1,000, 2,000, 5,000, 10,000. The people that are in there, I don't care if it's 15 people. We're already up to over 100 now in 24 hours. And we want to be authentic. I have nothing to gain from that other than trying to help people. And that's exactly what we're trying to do.
Let's cover a couple of important topics too that I think agents are going to wonder about if they're going to want to get into this niche. Because sometimes when I'm interviewing people, I'm talking from a perspective where obviously you can tell I already know a decent amount.
Right.
But let's kind of go back a little bit so that for anybody who's like, well, why does anyone even want to mess with that stuff? Well, let's talk about the side of the income side for agents, right? Yeah. What would you say on average when you're working with the fixed index annuities? What is an average commission that somebody could expect in terms of what percentage of the money they bring over?
Yeah, so a street level is probably around 6% on average. There's definitely upwards of close to 10. And then if you're looking at just a fixed product, maybe it's only 1 or 2, but on average it's probably close to 6. Okay. So it's definitely the part of your license that is lucrative. And that's where you have issues sometimes, right? So it's lucrative. You definitely should get into it because there's a lot of people out there, advisors, especially if you start talking about securities advisors that aren't safe money planners, right? That's what we are. That's what we are. If you have a good base and you understand what you're supposed to do and you stay in your lane. See, doctors have what's called their scope of practice, right? They stay in their lane. Mm-hmm. It's the same thing with insurance agents. Stay in your lane. Understand your scope of practice. If you can understand that scope and go down that lane, and if there's a question you don't know, that's okay. Go learn the question. Don't try to make the sale right then and there. It's not about that. You're there for the client, man.
Yep.
And I can't hit that hard enough, right?
Yep.
So it's definitely lucrative.
The best producers in our industry, regardless of niche, that is their main focus. Yeah. And I think in any industry, if your main focus is that customer comes first and taking care of them comes first, the money always follows.
Always. It's a byproduct of what we do.
Yeah.
It's just a byproduct. We're there to help people no matter what kind of insurance you sell, right? They call us salesmen, and if you act like a salesman, you're a salesman.
Yeah.
But if you act like somebody who's just helping somebody understand the information that's out there and educate them so they can make an informed decision, are you really a salesman?
Right. So if you look at the annuity spectrum and how many products are out there when it comes to just the fixed index annuities, regardless of variable annuities, regardless of just fixed annuities, fixed index annuities, which is the most popular right now for what we do.
100%.
What tools are out there that helps them with the cost analysis and figuring out which plan would be best for their consumer based on the data they've collected?
Right. So there are definitely quoting tools that FMOs and IMOs have come out with. The problem with them is they don't show you the information that is crucial. The crucial information is what has that history been with that product? Is it new? Is it old? If it is old, how's it done? If it's a participation rate, which you can look up if you don't know what a participation rate is in an index, how has that participation rate been throughout the years, right? Yeah. So you have to understand that this is not you sit down and you quote somebody and you have all the information right there. You're going to have to do your due diligence. You're going to have to go out. You're going to have to talk to different carriers and really get the history from those products. I personally reach out to the index companies, which are not the insurance companies. A lot of times they partner, and I reach out and I talk to their analysts and I say, hey, here's my questions I have. What do you have for me? And I reach out to a bunch of different index companies, and they tell me.
Yeah.
And they'll give me all that info, and I analyze it. You don't have to. I'm an analytical person. It's what I do for a living. You don't have to get there. At some point you will, I guarantee it, because you're going to care enough about your clients to where you're going to want to know as much about that product as possible. And there's nothing out there that's a better feeling than sitting down with a client and them asking you all sorts of analytical questions, and you got the answer for every single one of them.
So just in getting to know you, have a sense that when you reach out to these index companies, you're storing that information somewhere where you don't have to call them again, right?
Yeah.
I guess then the next question would be, someone's going to say, Tracy, how do I get a hold of that?
Yeah, definitely. And I hope people understand that I'm out there to try to help people, right? So I've been asked that a lot. I've been asked a lot about, hey, I want to learn what you know in the short period of time you've known it, because I'm an analytical person. So I have a course, and my course is designed for a one-on-one experience, okay? So if somebody wants all the material that I have, we have a webinar followed by a full course if you want it, okay? And in that, we train agents specifically going through start to finish with all the material and all the data I've ever collected, okay?
Yeah.
If you're somebody who wants to grow and wants to learn and you just want to see that, I have absolutely no problem giving it to you. You do not have to purchase my course, because I am in the market to help people. I'm in the business to help people.
Nice.
You reach out to me specifically, find me on social, the Annuity Giants Facebook page, my personal branded Tracy Lounsbury page, or my personal page, private page with this Tracy Allen Lounsbury II, which is my name, and I know it's long. You can reach out to me. I will add you on there. You can message me, and we'll have a chat, and we'll see what you need, and I'll try to help you out.
And I don't want people to feel like, hey, this guy's talking all this good talk, and it sounds great and all that stuff. But fortunately, I think we have one of your students in studio here today.
Absolutely.
Why don't we have him come on here real quick? Just give you a little shout out about his experience with your course and with your training.
Come on over, David. So this is David. David,
up here in the middle. Yeah, you go.
So David is basically a Michigan agent that we had talked with and wanted to understand all there is to know about annuities. And we've had a day that we sat down and we did training. And I guess I'll just give your quick opinion on how you think that training went.
Yeah, what Tracy's saying is 100% right. I got a phone call with him. We talked on the phone for a while, and he's like, "Hey, you want to come up and hang out for a while?" I'm like, "Yeah." So we hung out for a day. Tracy's got such a wealth of knowledge about annuities and everything. I'm saturated, but there's a lot to know. There's a lot to learn. But Tracy breaks it down so that you can understand it and take it to market. Yeah. Just get it out there and start talking to your clients about it. And that's what I've really liked about it. I don't know. Did I pay you?
No.
I don't think so. I don't think I did either. Right. So, but I mean, great dude. We got to hang out for a day up in Petoskey, Michigan. If you've never been to Petoskey, Michigan, go. It's beautiful up there, right on Lake Michigan, just on the west side of the bridge there. But yeah, Tracy's. I learned so much just from hanging out with him.
Thank you.
Yeah.
That's
Thanks,
awesome.
David. Yeah.
That's
Thanks,
awesome.
David.
So, and again, that's I wanted to do that. That was impromptu right there. Okay, so David wasn't expecting that, but I wanted to do that because, again, hopefully if you guys get anything from my podcast, is always that we're trying to be authentic, right? I'm not trying to ever do anything scripted and anything like that. I want to bring on people, have real conversations, talk about the value that they're bringing to the community. If anybody knows me, that's what I'm all about. Yeah. Bringing value to the community, to the agent force, because I've been so blessed with what the industry has done for me. This is my way of giving back. Today, Eric Thomas was talking, and he made that big claim. He's like, to whom much is given, much is expected, right? Yeah. And that's kind of where I feel like I fall into. Yeah. I've been given a lot, and so I try to give back in ways that I feel are going to be of great value to the insurance agent industry. Yeah. And I think one of those ways, aside from all the other stuff I do, is these podcasts. I love interviewing people like yourself who have that same mindset and provide that same value in other niches, even if it's in the same niche. It doesn't matter. It's just what matters is that there's a lot of us out there, a lot more than people think, who truly have agents' best interest in mind and clients' best interest in mind. Because when you follow and when you lead with that, everything else falls into place.
100%.
I appreciate you doing that, David. Thank you so much.
Thank you, David. I appreciate it.
So with that, I want to kind of wrap this up by reminding you guys that this Facebook group, you can go join, call it again, Annuity Giants.
Annuity Giants.
You just go and search for Annuity Giants Facebook group, go in, request to join. I've already seen people who are going in there and asking some amazing questions. And again, it's going to be a great way for anybody who is looking to start getting some of the most pressing questions that might be on their minds. Start getting them answered by an expert. And again, from there, you're going to be able to get led to some amazing resources. The one thing I'll leave you with, okay, Tracy is being incredibly humble by saying, listen, you don't have to pay for this or whatever. Like, I would just suggest to you guys, listen, don't go and just ask him for everything for free. Okay, I know he said that, but at the end of the day, we all have to make a living. And what we all do is we do try to give a lot of value at no cost. But there is something to be said about people who invest in themselves.
Definitely.
You're ultimately, you're a business. And I say this a million times over. So you're a business. You should be willing to invest in your business. And that way, I want to make sure that if you guys are going to think that you want to start reaching out to him, sure, ask him some questions, get some information. But if you feel that he's a solid resource, go ahead and get his course. Buy his course, because as you heard from David, it's solid information that gets you going on the right path. And for anybody who is wanting to get into this niche, which is an incredibly lucrative niche, let me tell you, it's an incredibly lucrative niche. You want to have a good mentor. You want to have good resources. And I'm a very analytical person. And just by talking to Tracy, I'm just like, cool. If you've done all that homework, why do I need to go and do all that homework? I would rather just buy your course where you have all the homework that's been done, right? Because that's exactly what I try to provide through my university. I'm like, hey, I don't want you to have to go do all this homework. I've already created the courses. I've created the information you need and the tools that you need to get going on work, right? So is there any pressing or anything you want to leave them with before we wrap up?
It's funny because, you listen to podcasts and you see this stuff and it's like, it seems like with a lot of other podcasts and other things, there's always something there, right? There's always somebody trying to peddle something or whatever, which is a lot of times there's value. And I will be 100% upright or out there with you. I will tell you if I think you're right for my course or not. If you want to come on and talk with me, I'll do a 15-minute, a 30-minute session with you. And at the end of the day, I'll say, listen, you got a lot of work and I think I can help you in this. This is where my time is valuable, right? But if I think you have a really good base, I'll just give you some pointers and go on your way. I'm a super open, super honest guy. So don't feel like you're intimidated by talking with me at all. I am here for you as a resource.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, I just got to spend time with him today. And, it's just, again, you can tell genuine recognizes genuine. And I'm not trying to brag on myself for being genuine. That's not what I meant by that. I just mean that I get it.
You're genuine.
And that's why I was just like, I want to talk to you. I want to get it on camera. I want the people to know what you're about, because I just, again, in all the thousands of agents that I talk to, I know that they're desperately looking for this kind of guidance.
Yeah.
And so knowing that it's out there is only one step further for them to reach the success that they're looking for.
Absolutely.
All right, guys. Well, thank you so much for watching today. I definitely am excited for the rest of this conference. We're going to go and see Tracy tomorrow do his thing at his breakout session for annuity producers. And unfortunately, by the time this airs, that's already going to have passed. But I'll give you guys some keynotes. And again, I'll probably interview him later on down the road so that we can kind of recap on some of that stuff and also just talk about how things are going. So
definitely.
Thanks so much for watching, guys. And we will see you on the next video. Hey, thanks for watching the podcast. If you like the content, please hit the like button, subscribe to the YouTube channel. That way you can get notified when more new content comes out. We'll see you on the next one.